promise you, I'm going to be back.
People have been dogging on Deebo Samuel all season. Then Brooks Anderson, or maybe CBS Sports, had to go and make this graphic. The most surprising player on this list? Wanya Morris. Better at catching touchdowns than blocking for Patrick Mahomes. Welcome to your honest Week 16 NFL Power Rankings. I am knower of football things, Brandon Perna, and today I will rank the top 14 teams. That's how many get into the playoffs, so that's why I've landed on that dumb number. All power ranking shows are bullshit. You know that, I know that, but the thing that makes mine different and better, the creme de la creme of bullshit, is a gimmick. At the end of the show, I spin this stupid wheel. We all pretend it has magical cursing powers, and whoever it selects usually loses. Well, at least that used to be true. Now I just look like a crazy person every week. Before we get to the top 14, we must start in heaven, purgatory, and hell. And I'm putting the Detroit Lions in all three all at once. Their injuries have them in hell. Knowing they could get Aiden Hutchinson back if they can just make it to the Super Bowl is purgatory. And outside of needing the healing light of heaven to fix their Achilles heel, this season has been heavenly for Detroit. Good luck, Lions. Coming in at 14.5, the Detroit Lions' injured defense. Now, Dan Campbell says this is exactly what they needed.
Sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth and remember what it used to be like to really appreciate where you are. And we'll do that. And so we got a bad taste in our mouth. We got kicked around the other day. We lost a few guys. And you know what? It's exactly what we needed. This is exactly what we needed.
Now, every part of my brain disagrees with that statement from a logical point of view, but since Dan is saying it, I believe him. And to make it really interesting, we have Aiden Hutchinson pleading with his team to stay alive because he's promising he can return.
I keep telling all the boys when I see him in the facility, I'm like, you guys just got to get there, and I promise you, I'm going to be back.
The only bright spot about Detroit's defense being so depleted is that now we're going to see Dan Campbell unleash levels of aggression we've never seen before. He's going to dial up trick plays we couldn't even have conceived of previously. I'm talking defensive trick plays, mind tricks, forcing the opposition to attempt 4th and 20s. He's going to start games with onside kicks. He's going to have Penei Sewell lining up at running back. Fuck it, Dan Campbell might line up at tight end one more time. Anything to put 50 on the board. 14, the Bengals. Yeah, I think the Bengals are better than the Chargers right now. The Bengals need a lot of help to get into the playoffs as it stands currently. They need to win their last 3 games against Cleveland, Denver, and Pittsburgh. Plus, they need either the Broncos or the Chargers to lose all of their remaining games. So their best hope is that Denver loses on Thursday, then they get a chance to beat Denver 1 week later themselves, and then they get one more Denver loss against Kansas City in Week 18. Because if the Chargers win this week, they finish out the season at New England, at Las Vegas. Not exactly the toughest gauntlet in the world. So basically, Cincy, it comes down to you and us. Ironically, Denver, if they drop their next 2, could be banking on Russ and the Steelers help them get into the playoffs. But let's hope that doesn't, we don't get that far. 13, the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels' performance against New Orleans combined with Nix's very up and down or down and up game against the Colts probably sealed Rookie of the Year honors for the Commanders QB. Now, they missed on a couple plays, but his chemistry with Terry McLaurin has been getting stronger and stronger. McLaurin just became the 4th player ever to record at least 50 receptions and 900 yards in each of his first 6 seasons, joining Mike Evans, AJ Green, and Randy Moss. And like Mike Evans, McLaurin has done that with a bunch of questionable quarterbacks throwing him the ball until Jaden arrived. Also at 13, Lucky 13, today's sponsor, Underdog. You know the deal, we're trying to get 10,000 signups at Underdog with my code THATSGOOD, or the link in the description if you want to play fantasy or in pick'em games where you're guessing player stat totals, higher, lower on those totals, stacking them to multiply your payouts. Do it at Underdog. Underdog, let me know. We've got through the draft to try to get our 10,000 signups. So maybe you didn't think it was possible. Maybe you weren't going to sign up because, Perna's not going to get that bullshit. I'm not going to help him when we got through the draft. We just crossed 4,100 signups, trying to get to 5,000 by the end of the month. And these are my pick'ems for the Broncos Chargers game. You should have access to these through Underdog if you use my code So if you use my code, you get these, well, yeah, that probably, since they're my picks, you probably shouldn't play those. Number 12, the Broncos. What can you say about this team? It was not their day against the Colts, and they still managed to escape with an 18-point victory in a game they absolutely had to win. Now, a lot of what Denver does down the stretch is going to come down to the health of corners Pat Surtain and Riley Moss, but they may have found their next guy in fourth-round rookie corner Chris Abrams-Drain, who sucked the life out of receivers at home against Indy, allowing just 11 yards on 7 targets, including a couple huge pass breakups, one in the end zone. My only complaint is how the fuck did they not know he'd be that much better than Levi Wallace 2 weeks ago?
Nick Bonito at 64,
Holy fuck is right, George Payton. Nick Bonito became the first player since J.J. Watt went full wattage in 2014 to have 10+ sacks and multiple touchdowns in the same season. Nick is a couple sacks or one more big forced turnover away from winning Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion, and he has a primetime game Thursday and a Saturday game against the Bengals that got flexed for an exclusive national audience that he can get behind him. And in terms of nicknames, I know we already got Casa Bonito. I think you could still get 20% off these shirts with my code PERNA20 over at DNVR, the All City website. That's not a paid promotion. I wanted them to send me a shirt, and it worked. Number 11, the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers seem to be peaking at the exact right time, dropping 40 on what was the league's best defense heading into their last game. Tampa may have nailed 2 of their mid-round picks this year. Jalen McMillan has filled in nicely at wide receiver, catching 4 touchdowns this season. And the steal of the draft at running back has been 4th-rounder Bucky Irving, who's closing in on 1,200 yards from scrimmage. Irving has totally transformed what was the worst rushing offense last year by yards per carry into the second best. Number 10, the Texans. Out of their 9 wins, the Texans have only won 2 of those games by 2 or more scores, and those were against the Cowboys and the Patriots. Even in a nice win against Miami, CJ Stroud only threw for 131 yards and the running backs combined for just 58 on the ground. I honestly think about the offseason wife swap the Texans and Vikings did a little too frequently to be considered a healthy person. Remember, Houston let Jonathan Grenard go, and the Vikings let Danielle Hunter go, and then each team signed the other edge rusher. And like Stafford and Goff, it's been good for both teams. Hunter has 3 more sacks with 14, but Grenard has 3 more forced fumbles with 4. Maybe the Vikings got the better deal because Grenard is younger? Either way, good job, everybody. Number 9, the Rams. Talk about getting hot at the right time. The Rams won the shootout of all shootouts against the Bills, then 4 days later went up north and outlasted the 49ers in the sloppiest of all slop fests to move to 8-6 and take first place in the NFC West. Mind you, this was a team that started the season 1-4, but have now won 7 of their last 9 with a semi-favorable schedule to end the season. They're not a team I think anybody really wants to play in the playoffs because when they're firing on all cylinders, they can beat anyone, which they certainly proved a week and a half ago. I don't even know what the Rams do well. Their offense is 17th in scoring. Their defense is 9th worst for points allowed. Stafford only has 19 TD passes. Kyren Williams, he's 4th in rushing yards with 12 touchdowns. And I do have a cool nickname for Jared Verse. Jared Man. Into the Jared verse.
When did you teach me that?
I didn't. It's a little joke for team building.
Number 8, the Steelers. The Steelers clinched a playoff spot, even in a loss. And I don't really care that they lost to a red-hot NFC East team without George Pickens. It's all about how they play against the Ravens and whether or not they secure the division, right? Their last 3 games are tough. They got Baltimore, Kansas City on Christmas, and they better hope Jesus Christ shows up for his fucking birthday to fight off the team that is known as Devil Magic. And Cincy to cap off the stretch there. Now, I honestly have very little hope Jesus comes to save Russell Wilson. The last time Russ played on Christmas, Patrick Starr turned into Jeffrey Ross at a roast, and Nathaniel Hackett was fired the very next day. But knowing the balance of good and evil is in jeopardy, maybe Jesus does help out his biggest supporter in Russell Wilson. Number 7, the Ravens. The irony of Lamar Jackson's season is that he's playing better than he did a year ago. when he won MVP, and now he's probably going to finish second in the award to Josh Allen. And when the Ravens lose in the first round of the playoffs, nobody will second guess that choice. Coming in at 6'6", the devil fucks. I don't think Patrick Mahomes' injury will linger for too long, and not just because he's faking it.
Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven, is that it?
Why not?
He's laughing his sick fucking ass off.
You're not good.
He's a tight ass. He's a sadist.
Think you can be forgiven?
Number 5, the Packers. The Packers are winners of 4 of 5, and there's still a good chance they could leapfrog the Vikings in the standings in the last 3 weeks. They've got New Orleans, Minnesota, and a cupcake of a home finale against the Bears, who are simply a broken unit right now. It would require a loss by the Vikings in either Seattle or Detroit, but I don't think it's out of the question. Josh Jacobs, the key feature to the Packers' new look ground and pound offense, has scored 1, 3, and 1 touchdowns dating back to November 17th, so bank on him scoring 3 against the Saints team that chose to start and then bench this guy last week. Coming in at 4.5, Brian Thomas Jr. With all the talk entering the season about Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze, guess which rookie wide receiver has the most yards and touchdowns? It's the 4th guy off the board, Brian Thomas Jr. And you can't even say he's in the best situation of all of those guys, because he's not. The best situation probably belongs to Ladd McConkey, who's been similarly excellent for the Chargers. But I wanted to highlight Brian Thomas Jr. because the Jags suck, but also because he's been the only bright spot there. He has 8 touchdowns and is 44 yards away from breaking 1,000 whilst catching passes from McCorkle Jones. Number 4, the Vikings. I know, Sean Payton is now in the mix for Coach of the Year, but even as a Broncos fan, I think it's Kevin O'Connell, KOC. I said I wouldn't put cock back in my mouth, but look at me, Vikings fans. Look at me! I've got cock in my mouth and I'm doing it for you. I've highlighted Sam Darnold here, Jonathan Greenard, Jordan Addison, Rip Van Ginkel. But here's why I believe in the Vikings right now. They have the 4th best scoring defense in the NFL, just 18 points per game, and that's better than the Chiefs. Fuck you, Kansas City. But more importantly, it's better than the Lions and the Packers. Number 3, Eagles. Jalen Hurts heard all the noise and answered by throwing touchdown passes to both A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, each receiver going over 100 yards, 110 and 109 to be exact. Jalen Hurts also rushed for 45 and a touchdown against a good Steelers defense. If Philly fans want to help the Eagles take it to the next level, you need to be even more critical of this team. They thrive on it. They need the drama and the criticism. The Eagles need to be constantly quarreling to be good. I mentioned the Broncos and Chargers defenses both allowing exactly 17.6 points per game in the winners and losers episode. Well, add Philly in as well. All 3 teams in a dead heat for fewest points allowed per game. Thanks to the standout play from rookie corner Quintanamo Bay, the Eagles allow the fewest yards per pass attempt at just 5. Speaking of torture, I swear to God, if we have to watch a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl again, I'll book an evening in Guantanamo on February 9th so I don't have to watch that shit.
What do you make of Guantanamo Bay?
I like it. I think it's cool, yeah.
Number 2, the Lions offense, and only the Lions offense. Remember, their defense is at 14.5. I honestly believe the Lions can outscore any team in the NFC. With all of the injuries on defense, they are now essentially the Cincinnati Bengals. I picked Jahmyr Gibbs to be the Super Bowl MVP before the season, and for this team to get there, he has to fulfill my prophecy now that we know David Montgomery is done for the season with the torn MCL. I think Craig Reynolds will fill in nicely for Monty Burns, the defense. We've seen Craig play well, but getting Gibbs more touches every game isn't necessarily a bad thing. We thought we knew who this Lions team was, but the entire world is about to fuck around and actually find out through these last 3 games. And number 1, it's the Bills. With Patrick Mahomes potentially missing a game for the Chiefs, the Bills now just need 1 Kansas City loss and 3 wins to secure the all-important 1 seed in the AFC. And the good news for Buffalo is that their final trio of games come against the Patriots, Jets, and Patriots. Truly a gift from the scheduling gods for a team that would really benefit from skipping out on the wildcard round and getting a game or two at Highmark Stadium. One of the things that's impressed me the most about Josh Allen's likely MVP season is that he just doesn't have a number one target. He's thrown 25 touchdowns, and they've been spread across 12 different receivers, including one to himself, of course. Von Miller only has 4 sacks this season in 10 games and hasn't looked the same since returning from suspension, but I'm wondering if he can turn it on just one more time in his career and have another legendary postseason run to secure his 3rd ring and go down as one of the greatest edge rushers of all time. God, imagine if the Broncos have to go up against Von Miller in the playoffs. I can't even think about that scenario. Oh, I'm thinking about it. Let's spin the wheel. And just so everybody stops bitching, let's just... That was a 7. You know what? Let's put that at 5. Here we go. We got 5, 5. We got 7 down here now. 8, 4. Okay. 4 here. Let's put 11 here. Let's put 3 right here. Put the 9 here. The 1 there. 1, 9. All right. I'm the devil. I can do what I want. Let's give it one spin. New numbered orders. Don't forget, Underdog. Use my code THATSGOOD at Underdog. If we get 10,000 signups, they owe me $1 million. If we get $1 million, we can do whatever the fuck we want on this channel forever. Oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? No! There's no... It's stuck on the thing! It's stuck on the thing! Oh, it's right between the Chiefs at 666 and 7. Who did I put at 7? Oh my god, who did I put at 7? Let me look. The Ravens or the Chiefs? Oh! Come on, fall over! Oh. Oh my god, I knocked it. It's still stuck there. I've never seen that. I've never seen that happen. Okay, there you go. Is nobody cursed this? What does this mean? What does this mean? I'm gonna say it's cursing the Ravens and the Chiefs. If they both lose, then that's what that means. Don't mind me, just walking by. Oh, now it's, whoa. Okay, creepy fucking wheel. I ain't messing with you.